All right, for the final main topic tonight, we take you to the wild, wonderful sport of hammer throwing, which I've never seen a minute of, got to admit. But apparently, there was some newsworthy action that took place this weekend at the U.S. Olympic trials when three Americans took all the medals. The gold was won by Deanna Price. Brooke Anderson was second place, and there was the third place, the bronze medalist Gwen Berry, who took the news after appearing to turn away from the American flag during the playing of the national anthem in some form of protest. Protest is all the rage. And also during, I believe, to the end of the song, she put a T-shirt over her head that read "activist athlete." Of course, she's getting criticism from conservatives and liberals are upholding her right to protest and all the rest of it. Saying not too much of a story that we've seen over the past 5 years, which began, as you well know, with Colin Kaepernick and his kneeling to protest police brutality, turned into a little bit of politics here and there with Donald Trump getting involved. But all that's old news. Drink, what is your this is a little bit different, being that this is on the Olympic stage. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, first I want to say I like how you slid in those political terms there.
Was any of that untrue?
I didn't say it was false. I just said I like how you slid them in there. That's all I said. This is tough, man. Just like in the lead-in, you brought up Colin Kaepernick, and he's always the one guy I think about when these athletes do these activist moves. The problem I have with this, right? Gwen Berry. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't think you even know.
It is Gwen Berry. That's my mistake. My bust.
Okay. Gwen Berry. I don't know how hard it was to find these articles to talk about them, but it's safe to say you weren't a household name. Now, could you have been a household name if you went and did what you did on the Olympic stage and went to Tokyo and brought back some of that hardware? Probably. But now, no matter what you do, this is what you're going to be known for. Now, I want to say this before I carry on. She said that, hey, this what happened was not her trying to be against her country. She said it was a unfortunate time. And she said the music was played to make her look bad, and everything that transpired was pretty much a setup. Take that for what it's worth. She did say that. So I want to make sure I said that on record. That she did say. So with that said, though, this is just not a good look. This is not a good... Listen, at the end of the day, here's the deal. If you want to be an NFL player and you want to protest, that's fine. You want to be an NBA player, that's fine. You want to be an NHL player, that's fine. MLB, the reason I say all that is fine because that's inside the confines of our country. That is a legitimate domestic gripe we have with each other as being countrymen. When you go on the Olympic stage and you go on the world stage and you do something like this, listen, and I'm not finna act like she the first person to pull this on the Olympic stage either, because she's not. We got history on top of history on top of history of this happening. Now, the times that these cats was doing it back in the day was a little bit different though. That was some real putting your life on the line stuff back then. Now it's just more of I want to make a statement. I want to, like, she put the shirt or whatever. I'm an activist. Okay, cool. I ain't mad at you being an activist. You couldn't be an activist after you got your medal. Listen, I think Gwen Berry need to realize this. This is your opportunity to become bigger than life. This is the Olympics. I understand what you're doing, for your, as you say, your people, and I'm assuming your people is skinned like me. So I appreciate that. I ain't mad at that. But what I am mad at is don't let these other activists get you to believing in something that they didn't even believe in when they was in your position. Make no mistake, I ain't hear Colin Kaepernick say anything about brutality when he was at Nevada. Not one word. He got to the NFL, stuff got hot, he made a little money for himself, he had an opportunity, he took it. LeBron, I'm not going to say he took an opportunity. I would say this, LeBron wasn't doing this when he was in high school. Not to say most high school players are, but he wasn't doing this when he was in high school. You got to understand, LeBron, when his first, I don't know how many years in the NBA, he didn't come out with all these political takes. Did he make a comment or two? Yeah. But he ain't the LeBron he is now. Now, he could talk about whatever the hell he want to, however he want to, and ain't much nobody can do about it, for real. So, my problem with Gwen Berry is you kind of ruin a good moment to make a point, and I understand the point. I appreciate the point. I love you for that point. But you have to get to where you're trying to get. Don't burn the bridge before you cross the bridge. And it's kind of what you're doing here. Because like the conversation we had earlier, what if the Tokyo Olympic Committee say, yeah, we good on that. Y'all need to bring an alternate. She ain't coming. Where does that leave you? Do you become an activist like Kaepernick or LeBron James? Do you get your own Nike line over there? Do you get your own a lifetime shoe deal from Nike? No, you don't get none of that. But you think what you did was on the same level of what they did, but it's not. And the reason I know it's not on the same level because you gave an explanation after you did it. Most of the people that do stuff like this don't give an explanation. It is what it is. You know, Black Power, whatever they're using when they do this, they just go with what they went with. Colin Kaepernick didn't give an. He said, "Listen, tired of my brothers losing their lives to police brutality. It is what it is. I'm riding this horse until it falls off." Cool. She gave an explanation, which tells me that she thought about it. She's like, dang, I might have went too far with this. I want to be an activist, but I might have went too far. Listen, when you're in the Olympics, you represent the country. I understand our country ain't in the most healthiest relationship. I got that. But at the end of the day, you went over there. You're going to go to the Olympics with the red, white, and blue. You ain't going over there with red, yellow, and black, which is, Cameroon for anybody that's wondering what I'm talking about. You ain't going over there with that, right? You're going over there with the red, white, and blue. You have to conduct yourself at a certain way because I got it. This might be the biggest platform you're going to get to prove your point. But at the same time, you doing that going to make sure this is your biggest opportunity to prove your point. When you can actually go out, do your thing, protest as you want, and probably get a bigger platform to do it from. Just imagine if you're the gold medalist in hammer throwing. We don't even know what that is. But if you're the gold medalist, we're more prone to perk them ears up a little more because you gold medalist. You brought it home for the country. Okay, cool. What we talking about now? Oh, okay, cool. Matter of fact, I might get more into this sport now. That looked a little, it looked pretty good. You know what I'm saying? Whoop-de-whoop. Either way, you gain more currency for yourself when you do it the right way, I think. And listen, I understand this hammer throwing thing is a track and field event, but here's the deal. If Sha'Carri Richardson or Felix Jones, somebody on that level would have pulled this with ESPN, Fox Sports, TNT, hell, NBA TV would have had something to say. It wouldn't matter. NFL Network would have had. Listen, it would have been on Fox because we know who those are household names in the track and field division. Those are names where the black community very familiar with who they are because they've been. So we would be like, "Oh, that's crazy. Why would she do that?" I don't know what Gwen Berry was thinking. I don't know if she was trying to gain some type of momentum for her career by doing this. I would say, before I end it, I'm gonna say, I appreciate what you did. I understand to a certain point what you did. But you might have just made a bunch of roadblocks for your career that you shouldn't have to go through. Just all because of the timing of what you did. The timing. People got to understand, they're just going through trials to go to the Olympics. This is not the Olympics yet. These are trials for the Olympics. So if you go and blow off the trials or mess up in the trials, you don't make it to Tokyo. And that's the point I'm trying to drive home. She could possibly not even get invited to Tokyo, even though she just medaled because of her, because of what she did. So we got to be careful. I understand we feel some way about slavery and we got to talk about it every chance we get, but don't ruin your success or what you worked your whole life to get to just for your 15 minutes of fame. Because for her, that was 15 minutes of fame because I could barely Google the chick. So I'm kind of disappointed that she pulled this so early in her career. I just think she should have like established herself more so we knew who exactly she was when she did this. But we'll see how this goes. But I'm gonna say this for other athletes that's going to the Olympics. Please don't make this the common theme. Can we just go over here and smoke these other countries and get back here with all the gold? That's all I'm worried about. Just go out here, get these other countries to business, bring it on back so we can talk trash to these little third world countries like we do. And then, you know what I'm saying, we go on by our business. But we can't go over here to Japan with this divide, with this disagreement, with this I don't like that side, you know, because then that just lets other countries get into our mix. And then we go and have a poor showing in stuff that we should be blowing them out of the water. And I mean water if you're talking about swimming. So I just, you know, with that said, I hope the young lady career ain't fully derailed, but got to think about these things in the future.
I just want to start with a question, and I surmise I know the answer, but just I'll ask it anyway and then go. What do you think was the purpose behind this protest, demonstration, whatever you want to call it? What was her purpose?
Well, like most likely, Black Lives Matters. I'm tired of the violence against my people. Anything, you know.
Is it fair? So, is it fair to say that this is the same issue Colin Kaepernick was protesting 5 years ago, or whenever it started?
On a smaller level, I think. But yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean to be insensitive at all about what I'm going to say. But I'm just a little bored of this. I'm just a little bored. And I say that because if the point of all this is to bring attention to police brutality and systematic racism and whatever that even means, I'd like to get a definition on that. You know, I don't know how much more attention we can draw to this. I don't think you're ever going to draw more attention to these type of issues than we got around Memorial Day last year. I think that's as much attention as you can draw to it. And we've had protests. We've had mostly peaceful protests. We've had other things that you know, devolved out of protest. We've had a lot of things, and you know, for what it's worth, I think it's we got to have some action at some point. And if activism is a goal and that's what we want to do, then that's fine. But I think there is a difference here between Colin Kaepernick, the NBA, and the bubble last year. Those are American leagues with Americans, you know, for the most part Americans, and we got Europeans come over and all that. But those are American-based leagues where American teams go at it. And I think it's one thing for, you know, us to, and the noble side of it is like the protests and everything is in the hope that we can improve America, make it better, become a more perfect union. That's the noble part of it. But on the flip side, you know, I gotta be honest. There's a portion of people in this country that just don't like this country. And I think the problem I have with that is when we go on the world stage, when we should look like we some type of together, and then we just don't look like this. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a problem. If you want to be an Olympic athlete, and by the way, I think it's perfectly well within her right to do what she did. Just it's within Colin Kaepernick's right and all the NBA players' right and everything. If you don't want to stand for the national anthem, that's fine. But just as much as you have the right to do that, and even on the Olympic stage, I would argue you have the right to do that. Anybody else, me included, has the right to, you know, not co-sign that. And I think especially on the Olympic stage, it doesn't set the right tone. And I brought up the kind of the locker room, you know, narrative. You know, it's one or example, kind of like, you know, it's one thing for teammates to have their differences and, you know, but when you keep those things in house and, you know, at least look united, you know, and even though you may not be united, but it's a lot better when you handle those things and try to address them amongst yourselves, whether, you know, as opposed to there's that guy that just goes and cries to the media. Now everybody is getting microphones shoved in their face about what's going on. You know, why is the why is y'all's team not together and all that? You know, so the biggest thing is I'm just tired. I'm just a little bored. Um, and I got it. You know, we want to bring attention to these things and do something about them. I think we got to be closer to doing something. And that's just not on activism. That's not just on protest. I mean, it's people that are actually elected officials that they got to put something together. You know, I've been told, you know, I keep bringing up from time to time. I bring up Tim Scott's police reform bill that didn't go nowhere last year. You know, some people didn't think it went far enough, but I mean, it was something, and we didn't want to do anything about it. And now, you know, current administration, they've been talking about police reform, and we're still waiting. You know, so at some point, like all the protests and the symbolic gestures, I mean, they're all well and good, but we got to have some. I think we got to have some action at some point. And I think the bigger problem is, you know, these you know, the problem that I'll just keep speaking out against is the continued focus on inherent characteristics that we have no control over. If we continue to just focus on those and constantly just focus on what divides us, that's going to be our undoing. You know, if me and you did that, we wouldn't have a show. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's problematic. And I would also say, like, even though it's with it, as I said before, and I'm not going to back down from this either. Even though I think it's within her right to do this, just as that it was within Kaepernick's right and all the rest, that doesn't, especially in this case, I think there's, you know, the flip side of it is that doesn't mean it's necessarily the right thing to do. You know, the fact that you're out here going and making the attempt to represent the United States on the world stage, that means something. This doesn't in an interview with Black News TV, you know, for all the channels. I didn't even know that was a thing. Didn't know hammer throwing was a thing either. Learning so much today. But you know, she said, you know, people are trying to, you know, character assassinate her, or put words in her mouth. I don't hate this country, but you know, I'm here for my people. As you surmise, I don't know for sure, but I would say that means I would guess she's talking about Black people. When you're on the Olympic stage, you're representing all of us, and there's no more multicultural, diverse country in America, which I think is the bigger problem at large here. There's a lot of people that are unsatisfied and unhappy with what we have going on. But if you just take a moment and just look around the rest of the world, and I think you can attest to this as well as I can. I've been to a whole lot of places around the world, a whole lot of different other countries. And as good a time as I've had in pretty much all of them, I've had a good time pretty much everywhere I've been. You know, there's something about getting back to America, stepping on American soil, and just I always think to myself, man, there ain't nothing better than this. I still believe that. And I really think if we focus on things that unite us, the fact that we're all Americans, and if we these common things which should bring us together, like the flag used to, like the anthem used to, things like that, I think we'll do a lot better. And I just hope we're able to move forward. Not saying we have problems. We should address them, and we should attempt every day to be a more perfect union. But we should also make an attempt to find compromise, have honest dialogue, just like we do here every Wednesday and Saturday. And I think if we would do that, it'll be a better day tomorrow.